morning, Titanx. Good morning. Welcome to the Titanx Lounge. Appreciate everybody, at least on the East Coast and maybe as far as the West Coast, getting up early to watch this. We have Colin in the lounge today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I really like what you've done with the Titanx Lounge. I think it's a really cool platform to bring people on and just have a nice discussion, get to know people a bit better. So yeah, very unique, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's part of what we want to try and achieve in the ecosystem is to show that hey, you know, uh, we're not just people hiding behind under rocks. You know, that we're out here. We're proud of what we have, and this is just an avenue that can allow us to just kind of get to know our founders and some of the key people in our community, and you being one of them. So either way, one of the things I did put in the announcement was that we would have a special guest join us today that would be announced. And for the audience, I'll I'll let you know that I reached out to Colin and I asked him if he wanted to come on the lounge, and he's like, "Well, yeah, sure, it'd be cool." And then he fired right back at me. He says, "Hey, man, I know this dude, and he's starting to get into streaming, and I think he'd be somebody that'd be really unique to bring on board while we talk." And I was like, "Well, who is it?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, it's Jake or something like that." But no, we have a new member to the community that Colin wanted to suggest we bring into the lounge to introduce and have him kind of give his little take on Titanx as well. So at this time, I'm going to invite to the stage Mitch.
Hey guys,
Good
can you hear
morning,
me okay?
sir. Oh, good evening to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
we can hear you good.
I'll just get my water there. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Welcome.
like 8 o'clock at night over here.
Yeah, so you're ahead of me then, or behind me? Which one is it?
Yeah, and I think Caleb, you must be. I think Ted, you're 12 hours or 11 hours. Caleb, you're about 6 hours.
Yeah, so
difference?
it's 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock for me at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
Okay. So Mitch, you're in Somalia, right?
Somalia, yeah, right. No, I'm in Cambodia.
Cambodia. That's right. Cambodia. Cambodia.
Oh my gosh, if I was in Somalia, I don't know if I'd. Yeah,
Well,
pretty dangerous
welcome.
place.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the lounge. Colin has suggested that you come and join us, but
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think it's great. I was listening to Callum during the streams, and I was like, man, what a chill guy. It would be cool to do a video with him. And then of course, I saw you. Well, Ted, we were on the Titanx conference, so it's good to meet you there too.
yeah, indeed, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hey, before we dive in too deep, I just wanted to get everybody up to speed. Colin and Mitch, that Titanx Lounge was an idea to just get to reach out to the community and some of the members within it, and sit down and talk with them, get a sense of who they are, kind of what inspires them, what attracted you to Titanx, and just your overall experience. And at the same time, as we're discussing anything, any discussions that we have, in by no means, shape, or form, our financial advice in any way, shape, or form, and that I would hope that those that are listening and that tune in are sensible and smart about how they handle their security and their crypto. Make sure you're safe. Do your own research on everything, and hopefully you'll have a good experience with in dealing with Titanx. So, but on that note, let's get started. So, Colin was a special guest, and I'm quite fascinated by your enthusiasm and your ideas, dude. You seem like a real go-getter, and seeing you in streams and watching you in other in streams with more people. When you speak, you bring smiles, and so that's pretty cool to see that. So I think there's some eyes on you, and you should be really proud of where you're at and what you're doing. So on that note, kind of give us a sense of what drove you into this experience.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for saying that, by the way. And same goes to you. I think you bring a really positive environment, especially with Titanx Lounge, and just all the interactions I've had with you and everyone else in the community really has been really good. Where I started, I mean, it was in lockdown really when I got interested in, well, money basically, because my brother was really into the stock market and I would always go and ask him questions about it here and there. And then I got into it, into lockdown because there was nothing else to do. And then that moved me onto crypto. And then from crypto, I got into different projects. And then I found Titanx, luckily. And yeah, since then, it's just been all uphill.
Right. So what was the aha moment? What was it when you kind of said, I'm going to build?
That's a good point. I can't remember exactly. I remember that aha moment when I was like, right, this place, Titanx, is going somewhere absolutely incredible. I remember waking up and I had some miners, some max miners, not max miners, but miners coming out for Titanx in mid-June. And I remember they came out and I was just like, okay, I'll just max stake them because I'll get a reward from the 369.
Nice.
And then the next day I woke up because I did that at night. As soon as they come out, I did it. I woke up the next day and I was like, I was so annoyed because I was like, why didn't I just invest into Dragon X? Because I don't even know what, I wasn't even thinking. It was one of those, like the miners came out late at night and I was like, okay, I'll just max stake them straight away without even thinking. I was like, I should have put that into Dragon X. And then from there, I just started taking money from places here and there from other investments and putting it into Dragon X and Titanx because I was like, I know where this is going. And then I was always thinking, because people were always talking about building things here and there as more builders came up, and I was like, because it's difficult to come up with an idea for sure. You have to think long and hard. Yeah. So I was just staring at the Titanx hub and I was looking at all the projects. I was like, kind of what Mo says is like, what are people not looking at? And Blaze was definitely on there for sure. And I was like, what can we do with Blaze? And then I came up with the idea for Phoenix, and then Flux came out and I was like, let's put that in. And then it just moved and evolved into something huge.
Yeah,
there,
right.
Basically. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's cool. That's cool. And so did you end up taking advantage of the 1-to-1 on Dragon X or no?
So I did.
Did you get into it?
I did get in, not with a huge amount really.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously it rode down. There was a lot of FUD here and there. But I think I was very lucky to wake up to the idea of Dragon X before everyone else did. Like that.
Yeah, that's good. And ironically, when Mike Dean did his chat with Eric about Dragon X, I so vividly remember Mike Dean saying, "This is gonna be huge." I mean, it was just like clear as day, and I'm like, all right, so I did my swaps for 1-to-1, and even when it did go down, I'm like, Mike said it's good. I'm sticking with, and he was right. I mean, he was right. He knew right from the papers. I mean, he was like, this is gonna be just crazy. So I didn't lose faith. I didn't lose faith in Dragon X at all. I just knew it was a matter of time, and it was clearly in the white paper, Jake's white paper too. It was basically money and time. You get your token, just give it.
It is amazing how much how much FUD actually can, how much it does work. You listen to people and you're like, oh man, maybe this is like one person could FUD you out. But what I've realized, what I've learned is like, I think it comes with a lot of experience in different apps too, because you can sort of, the more you do it, the more patterns that you see. I really do. I think it is the patterns, like in behavior and noticing little nuances that, but the more you do it, the more you'll start to get hang of it. But still, yeah, FUD can definitely be pretty effective.
And it was crazy how much FUD there was. I remember.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to watch or look at anything because Yeah,
Yeah.
it would change your mindset on everything. You'd be fixed in what you think, but if you're seeing every day constant FUD and constant people asking questions of why is this not working, it does kind of make you think a different way. You think, oh, am I
Mhm.
thinking wrong?
Yeah.
And yeah, that I definitely had doubts there for a second. I think everyone did. I even remember watching a stream with Eric, and he was talking about moving over and building on Pulse Chain and stuff, and like moving away from Titanx almost. And I remember thinking, even the founder is possibly thinking about moving. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he still has plans, but I think
Right.
there was that period of doubt for sure. But I mean, if people took advantage of that doubt, is where they made the real gains. Like you were saying, Mitch, it's you got to stick to your guns and just stick
Yeah.
with it, basically.
And even like when Jake sort of disappeared for a while too, right? I was like, oh man. But I just kept. I think that's how I like. I have a pretty big bag of Helios, and I think it was during the time when I didn't see Jake for a while. I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. And then I'm like, and I don't even know how it happened. I'm only realizing now when I'm seeing him, like how I have so much more Helios than like anything. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, everybody. I'm sure everybody picked their what they thought was, what attracted them. They went for it and they went in heavy.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So it's interesting, Colin. One of the things you had said earlier was, I know that when I knew I was totally committed to Titanx when I started to realize when I was out just doing everyday living and dealing with just out of pocket expenditures, I'm like, I don't need that. This can go to Titanx. I don't need that. This can go to Titanx. And it was like really seriously, I started refining how I was actually managing my own money because I started to have this belief in Titanx. I was like,
do you,
wow.
do you remember when? Do you have a time frame? And can
Yeah.
you quickly run through your kind of story of where you started when you came in, and then
Yeah.
where you decided to go all in?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I actually started in crypto years ago, um, with an eToro account. It was like, okay. Um, so you could say probably since 2016, I would say is when I got started. Um,
I'm
but then
jealous.
I never ever really dove in as deeply as I have with Titanx with anything else crypto. Um, so I actually stumbled across Titanx um, one night. It was actually just it was I think it was a video of Jake, and I was just ripping through, and I caught something he was saying. I was like, well, the guy's got a cool accent. I'll see what he has to say. So I
yeah,
started listening, and I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty interesting. And then I started to see some streams popping up, because it was a pretty exciting time. I got in on day 21. I wasn't there at day one, but then I started listening to some of the streams, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So um, I'm pretty fair about what I do. So I kind of said to my wife, I said, well, you know what? There's this little project going on I'm thinking about. And she's like, well, all right, whatever. So we went in, I went in, and I was hooked. Um, Super exciting, super exciting time. Oh, I got my miners going. I can't wait. And I'm sitting there calculating my future and, the glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
but,
yeah,
but then, time sets in and it's like, okay, all right. Never lost faith. And I mean, literally, I would just, if I had an extra $50, I'd start a miner. Boom, I just start a miner. Boom. I
So
mean, whatever.
there was never any doubt in your head. You were just always
No, it was like when I commit to something, I commit to it. It's in my DNA. It's like if
yeah.
I'm going
there's
to
no
go
going
in,
back.
yeah, I'm going in. Um, Never once had an exit strategy, never thought about it ever, ever. Um, and then I think it was actually Awesome X, Dave from Awesome X said something a while back that, you know, Titan X, and if you have it, it's like your work, it's like an employee-owned company, you know. You know, I consider this kind of my company too. I've invested in it. So if I want to see it do something, I got to do something to make that happen. So I started getting more involved, posting more, trying to get creative, trying to just get some type of stimulus, stimulate some type of vibe. I know Mo was really working hard on his streams and stuff, and so I just started creating just different types of content to see what would gain traction. And I would look at my analytics and X and see where I was going. Am I getting good response? Am I not getting good response? Did this work? Did that work? And I started refining my approach on just how I was putting out content. That kept me motivated in the fact that more and more people started to actually get more involved. So I started to see more engagement within our X community. So it was like, wow, this is pretty cool, because it was pretty quiet for a while there. It was real quiet, and it was like, it's time to put like Marcus says, you got to work for your bag. So it was just one of those things. That's what really pushed me, and I was 100% in at that point.
Probably one of the best decisions you could have made as well.
Well, yeah, it taught me a lot about myself. It helped me break through barriers that maybe normally I never would have. Never really had a problem speaking in public or anything like that with my career. Giving presentations and going to big conferences and all that. So it wasn't so much that; it was just mixing my view and my vision of Titanx, my style of art, my way of speaking, my way of thinking, all combined. It gave me a sense of freedom to where I was actually just, I had just a blank canvas in front of me that I could paint any way I wanted. And once I realized that, I started to fall in love with it. I was like, wow, I can actually be me. I can wear my hockey jersey. Yep, I don't know where Mitch
disappeared.
You playing games?
Are you guys still there?
No, you popped off.
But, okay.
But no, so it just really opened up a big sense of freedom for me, and with that, I just ran with it. And then I came up with the idea for the lounge to just kind of get a grasp on what was going on in the community, because so much stuff was being built that I was starting to get lost. It was like, wow, how do I keep up with all this? So I was looking at it from a perspective, if you're new to the ecosystem, you come in, you're literally going from the backwoods country to, Times Square in New York City. It's just chaos.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, if you think about like Bitcoin, if you try to explain just Bitcoin itself to the average person, they're like, they have no idea. So imagine like going even deeper into, okay, well, there's this Titanx, but then even going deeper than Titanx into liquidity providing, into Volt. I mean, Volt is complex in itself, and all these other things. Like, it's crazy, but it's cool. And what I like about it too is that you could literally just it's nonstop learning. You know what I mean? Like you could be as pro and smart as possible, but you still won't know everything. Like you see sometimes in the chats with Jake in the live stream, like where Jake's like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Like I've heard him say that a couple times, so even a pro like Jake is constantly learning. And I think it's going to be an ongoing process for, as long as we're in crypto.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, you have to be. I mean, you just got you just have to stay up with it. And to that point, Thursday this week, I'm heading up to Michigan to my cabin. So I'll be on the road for 2 days straight. That's 2 days I'm off of X. Okay. And when I'm at the cabin, I got some things I need to take care of and prepping it for winter. So when I come back on Tuesday, I'll spend Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday catching up for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the previous week. Just so I can I don't lose track of what's going on. So, and really, that's kind of what it takes. I mean, you really have to keep track of what's going on.
But you're going to be driving, right?
Yeah, I'll be driving.
So you could put on.
I'll have earbuds. Yeah. And I'll be listening to whatever, but sometimes that's just torture because you just want to get engaged, or else you want to fire up your keyboard, or
Yeah.
But no, it's just when you step off the grid a little bit, you gotta do some backpedaling to get caught up. but Colin, to get back to your original question, the lounge was kind of a place to offer people an opportunity to come and maybe ask questions from the chat. I do have some certain rules. You got to have a green circle if you want to speak. So there are certain things that you have to have to qualify to actually make your presence known in the lounge. But ultimately, in the end, it was to just let people know that we're just not hiding under rocks trying to steal money from them. That this is actually a place of just genuinely smart, good intention people.
Yeah. And I think that reflects the Titanx community so well. In my experience, I mean, I haven't had really any negative interactions. Everyone's been so positive. I've reached out to founders of projects and they've been like, yeah, sure, let's do a stream. And yeah, that's why when Mitch was like, let's do a stream, I was like, let's do it. I think the more the merrier. And as long as we can kind of keep this positive kind of vibe going, especially with Titanx Lounge and everything, the better. Because as more users come in, it is going to be more difficult to kind of maintain that. Do you mind if can we ask Mitch quickly how he got into Titanx and his story?
There. Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny because the way I got inspired to get into crypto is kind of funny. There's I think it was 2016, and I was watching a TV show called Startup. Have you ever seen it or heard of it? Not many people have, but it's about this Latin girl, and she teams up with a gangster from Miami, and teams up with this young business guy from like a rich family, and she's a coder, and she started a coin called GenCoin, and I watched all 3 seasons, and I was like, I didn't understand what crypto was. I had no clue. And by the end of the episodes, I was like, wow. I'm like, damn, I gotta get into this. This seems crazy. Of course, my life is not full of Miami gangsters and rich business people, but it you never know. but it was, and then so I started looking into crypto, and I had my credit card, and then I was just like, I need to put everything on my credit card onto this. And then I found Trevon James, who I watch all the time. This guy for me plays an important part of my crypto lore. And Trevon was talking about BitConnect. And so BitConnect was my first project. And I told my friend, you might have seen her on YouTube and Twitter. Her name is Little Cryptida on Twitter. She lives in Cambodia with me here. Not with me, but, in my city. And got her into it. And, of course, it tanked. And one of my buddies who got into it, it was a $1 billion scam, right?
Yeah, wasn't it one of the biggest crypto scams?
Oh, man, it was huge. Like,
It's not a good entry.
There was like car bombings and like all these crazy things that behind that. Yeah, it's crazy. And so I lost. And I remember my buddy from Canada, he's like, I'm out, I'm done. This is crazy. But I wasn't mad. I lost money in it, but I would just thought to myself, I'm like, but it worked. Well, it did, So I was like, man, if this can work like this, and if you did it properly, it probably really could work. So then I just got obsessed with researching crypto, and then Trevon left for quite a while. And then the first video he did, I remember I saw it on my YouTube, and he talked about a project. It was the first DeFi project that I got into, and it was called P3D, Proof of Weak Hands. And I got into that, and that was my first come up, and then everything just went, from there. So that was my story of getting into crypto, which I think is pretty funny, the whole TV show part of it. But and then Titanx actually was again because of Trevon James and Bartertown. He mentioned it, so I looked into it, and here I am.
Bravo.
So yeah.
Were you a day one, or did you?
Yeah. I was day one. When I left Canada, and I left my job in politics, and I got to Cambodia, I was like, okay, I'm doing this full time. So it's either there's not much like in my city and in Cambodia. Like I'm involved in quite a few things now, but when I first came back here, there was not much to do but hang out with your friends and drink or go out, and it can get and it's really cheap here too, so it can get kind of out of hand if you're not in control. So I just spent all my time researching and being obsessed with crypto, and it paid off. So yeah.
cool.
That's awesome. That is really cool. And now you're getting into all the streaming stuff. What's the goal with all the streaming? Do you just want to be more involved with everything
Yeah, I
that's
just
going
wanted
on?
to be. I see everybody like, like all the other communities. I was always kind of like hesitant because you see mostly hacks and pulsion because that's what I was heavily into. And those communities, I was always kind of like they're always fighting, and I'm like, I don't really want to get involved with that. But then I'm seeing everybody like, and then Jake getting on stream, and you guys, and everybody's all friendly and supportive, and I was like, oh, this seems cool. This is more chill, more my kind of thing. So let me get in, and I made because I have my Twitter account for like my professional stuff, and then I didn't want to, and then of course then I just made the crypto Twitter one, so that's cool. Yeah.
It's a great story. It's a great story. And I was telling Colin before we went live, I was doing some fact checking on him and doing some research, and I fell into a black hole, and he knew exactly what I was talking about. He posted on his X account this Joe Rogan story about black holes, and that completely interrupted my research for like an hour or more. So, but I did some checking on you, and you seem like you're a really busy person. I mean, you're out running around and doing stuff, and apparently, you have a daughter.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, like no, 3 years now. I never wanted kids. I was never part of my plan. Like I like to travel. I like to do like just go off whenever I want. Right. Like I wanted complete freedom, and I've always been like that. I've always been since I was 18 years old, and I left my parents' house when I was 17, and I just wanted to keep on going, and that's how I ended up around the world. And then things happen. You meet a certain somebody, and then it goes one way. I was in denial at first, and then she was born. I was there at the hospital, and then everything just kind of changed. And now my daughter is like of course, my number one. I do anything. I like everything I'm doing is for her now. And I'm a single father now, so I have thankfully I have a nanny and their family that help me take care of my daughter, because doing it on my own would be obviously kind of challenging. So I got them an apartment, so they live just in the same building as me, which is great. So when I need to do my work and I have to do things, I bring her down there, and they help me out like that. So it's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been that was like an unexpected part of my adventure, but it was cool, man. I'm glad. And she's got her Canadian passport now, so she can travel around the world if maybe when she's a bit older. Everybody's asking me if I'm going to take her back to Canada, but I think it would be very difficult. Like, she's only 3 years old. She's 3 tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
And to bring her to Canada, like to get full-time nanny around the clock would be a bit difficult over there, right? So
right.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's funny how kids can change your life.
I
have 3.
Crazy.
And
and then when you're on your own, like especially like when I was with my ex, she was with me and my daughter for the first year, and now she's completely gone. We haven't seen her in like 2 years, but that first year, like, it made things a lot easier. Like, I remember I told her, I'm like, yeah, I got to go to Dubai, and I was traveling around. I was going to Switzerland and Africa, and I just left for like 2 months, and then I came back, it's like, oh, hey guys. But now that I'm by myself, I it's a bit harder to do that, but you have this, I think, as a as men, I don't know, Ted, if you have kids, you?
Yeah, I have 3.
Yeah. So, and Caleb soon, maybe. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. Like I never thought that your mind could switch like that. Like you go into like super protective mode, Like I'm even like when I go out with her by myself, I'm always a bit hesitant because a lot of my friends, they've gone home back to their countries, and I don't really have too many people here in Cambodia anymore.
Mhm.
And so I take her out on my own, but I have my wheelchair, so like I'm like trying to manage. She sits on my lap, which is cool,
Uh-huh.
but I'm just thinking like I'm always careful of where I go,
Oh yeah.
because the reality is like I can't really protect her like somebody like you guys, like somebody tried to do anything. It's not like I can get up and just fight them as much as
Right.
I would love to, but so I gotta, my mindset now is on like operational security, like, okay, where are we going here? We got to do this, got to go
Yeah.
here, like make sure like I have my driver that I've known, all my drivers I've known for years, so
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, it changes you, and I've always worn my heart on my sleeve, and before having kids, I thought I knew what love was, but seeing my
Yeah.
first son born, you have no idea what love is until you see your firstborn child. It
Oh
is
yeah.
just
Yeah.
it is so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And Mitch, the one thing that I've raised my kids to do I mean, when they first could start to comprehend, literally was, walk with a purpose, you know,
Yeah.
be aware of your surroundings, just don't look like a butterfly in a windstorm,
Yeah. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
it really can make a statement as they mature and grow older. And especially with
Yeah.
my youngest at college, she's in her senior year. Man, she's the best person to go clubbing with, because if the bar is packed and she wants to get out of there, she walks with a purpose, man. She just plows right through the crowd
Yeah.
and she'll get you out of there, man. She's great.
See,
So,
that's the kind of attitude that you have to have in life, though, too, right? Like you gotta. That's the thing I worry about in Cambodia sometimes too. Is like I'm really trying to, like like in our culture we're very like, we'll stand up for ourselves. Like no, we don't let people mess with us. Like if something happens, you're gonna fight back. Like you don't. But like the mentality here, like people are very chill. It's like the Buddhist sort of thing, and like everybody's like that. Like nobody's confrontational, which is good. It's just very different. But I gotta teach my daughter to be more like, I want her to have my mom is Latina, so I want her to have that strength, and don't let anybody mess with you. You can say no, you this and that, because I've seen a lot of instances where especially girls here, they just get pushed over, and I'm just like, and I watch it happen, I'm like, man, stand up for yourself,
mhm.
you gotta fight back. And they're just like, no. It's crazy. But then
Yeah, it's
again, you can get in trouble too, because I've gotten myself into trouble just by fighting back.
mhm. Yeah.
So it's hard.
How
Well,
different is it living in Cambodia to Canada? What are the main
Oh
differences?
man, it's completely different. Like, um, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like the people here are completely different. The culture is completely different. It's like, but the reason I love it here, because you know I've been to probably around over 60 countries, and Cambodia was like the place where I was like, oh man, it's got everything. It's got the adventure, you know, you got ancient temples, so if you want to be like a Indiana Jones kind of thing, you can come over for that. And then it's got the big city where you can have super nice restaurants and bars and stuff like that. So it's got a little bit of everything. Where I live, it's more, really more chill and relaxed. And then when I need change, I just go to the capital city. It's like 4 hours in a taxi. So yeah, but it is different. I mean, there's no McDonald's, which I know is good and bad. Like I miss McDonald's. I like it, you know. And I miss the like donut shops in my city in Canada, which don't get here. Like the really good with pastries and snacks and stuff. But yeah, other than that, it's great. It's great.
What part of Canada?
I'm from the capital, Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, so where the Parliament building is, which borders Michigan actually.
That's where
Right?
that's where I'm from originally, is Michigan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
What
kind of
part
like
of
a neighbor.
Michigan?
I was born in the Tri-City area on Lake Huron, which is the Bay City,
Okay.
Saginaw,
Oh yeah,
Michigan.
Lake Huron. We're
Yep.
our common body of water, I guess.
Yeah. And then we have a cabin on the west side on Lake Michigan in
That's awesome.
just south of a town called Ludington, in a little quaint town called Pentwater. So,
What's
and
it
that's where
called?
we're headed. Pentwater.
Oh, I thought you said
P-E-N-T.
Templar. Okay,
No,
Tempwater. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
P-E-N-T. Yeah, so that's where we're heading this weekend, my wife and I. So,
Nice,
but
nice.
Is it
yeah, it's
is
cool.
it off grid or
It's
what's the
pretty
cabin?
off grid, dude. Yeah, it's, let's just say there's no phone, there is electric, well water. We do get my son's living there now because he ended up taking a job up there. We had to pay a little extra money to get some wires put in so we could get internet. But before that, if you wanted to get on grid, you had to go into town, go in like some of the, like maybe a little coffee shop or something like that.
Yeah.
Because even your cell phone,
Nothing.
nah, you'd sometimes you'd be in SOS zones. You know, it would just lose cellular coverage, and trying to surf or just get online, forget it. But
Can you get Starlink?
I actually already have one.
Oh,
Yeah,
would that work?
yeah, it would. It's funny you say that. Just recently, Home Depot, the hardware store here, they
Yeah.
had a special for the base Starlink system for $299. I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
I saw that. I'm like, what? I thought they were like $500-600, but it was a big promotion they were doing for certain parts of North America, and we happened to fall. Our state fell into that, so I was like, well, I'm going to score one of those. So I picked it up, and I'm actually taking that to the cabin too. The only problem is this canopy, because the cabin itself is completely surrounded with just massive pine trees. So having that canopy is going to make it difficult for alignment to try and capture some of those satellites. But I want to take it up, give it a run, see how it does.
Do you own the land as well? Can you cut down the pine trees if you want to?
Yeah, you could,
Yeah.
but I like the isolation. I like the fact that when you wake up, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
which direction you look, you're looking into forest. You're not looking at a house or a
Yeah.
street. I like that seclusion. So, but having a pretty sound engineering background, I'm pretty sure I can figure something out.
Yeah.
So-
I do.
Your background is engineering?
What's that?
Your background is sound engineering?
Actually, civil engineering.
Oh, I thought you said sound. Okay, civil. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But so Colin, give us some dirt on Phoenix, man.
Yeah, sure.
What's the inspiration behind all that goodness? Because man, I tell you what, that thing is hot, and it hasn't even hit the street yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the inspiration. Yeah, I was just looking for. I really like the idea of building a sustainable system, something that in 1 year it's going to be there, in 5 years it's still going to be there, and I think what Phoenix is going to be that. It's going to be sustainable. And it's also going to be quite aggressive as well with the daily auctions after the mint period. So just a quick elevator pitch in case you guys aren't. Yeah. So it's going to have 3 stakes. It's going to have a stake in Blaze, Titanx, and Flux. And the rewards that we receive from those stakes are going to be split between maintaining the stakes and fueling the Phoenix buy and burn. And when the Phoenix buy and burn is triggered, so it's going to be built on Inferno. And it's the buy and burn is going to be stored in Titanx. And every time that's triggered, it's going to buy Inferno and then Phoenix. That Phoenix that's brought is going to be split 50-50. Half of it's going to be burnt and the other half is going to be sent to an auction balance. And then starting after the mint phase, there's going to be daily auctions similar to what Vault has.
Very cool. I
Yeah.
know, yeah, because I was looking at. I like what you call the. What did you refer to it as the
The buy and bid, maybe.
no the Trinity,
The staking Trinity. Yeah.
the staking Trinity. That just
Yeah.
sounds cool, man. It just
That's what I
sounds.
thought. Yeah.
it just like what?
That's yeah. That's the only reason I used it. It sounds really good, isn't it?
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
how
So
much of a percentage will go into those three staking platforms?
yeah. So originally it was split quite evenly between the three stakes, but after speaking to Jake, he said just focus on maybe two of them. So 22% is going to go straight to Titanx, 28% is going to go to Flux, and then only 7% is going to Blaze. But for 150 days, 100% of the rewards we receive are going to be reinvested to build up that stake, if that makes sense. So after the 150 days, it's going to switch the allocation to match the other stakes. So half of it's going to be used to maintain, the other half is going to fuel the Phoenix buy and burn. And that's going to be just before the Blaze 288-day payout, which is going to be good. Hopefully, we'll get a decent payout from that.
sounds
Utah,
Nice.
cool.
so
Yeah, Utah, man. It's I think he's a Texan boy. I think he's from Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So the what? Okay, Phoenix is notoriously known for rising from the ashes, right? So, why Phoenix?
I was just looking at different names here and there for I really like Helios's name, and I think he got it from Greek mythology. And I was looking into all of that, and there were some really cool names there, but I can't even remember how I stumbled on the name Phoenix. It just kind of got there, and I remember reading the the definition on Wikipedia and stuff, and it rises from the ashes, and I thought this would be perfect. Blaze is going to be built on, and Inferno, which are both fires basically. So I thought this just matches that whole kind of ecosystem quite well.
Yeah.
Very well put. I like that. Yeah, that's a good blend. I mean, it's like folding the cream in there, to the mix. That's pretty good. I
Yeah.
like it. Um, then your through your design and putting your white paper together and everything, um, was there a specific reason that you were looking towards the Inferno and the Flux? I mean, what 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 did they offer that you wanted to include? Why did you choose those? And obviously, you're very very thorough. I can tell by just how you approach things and by your design. Obviously, there was something there that you saw great potential in. And would you want to maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we all know what happened to Baby Dragon X and that leverage play on top of it when it literally did 100x just because Dragon X did. I can't even remember. It wasn't maybe a 2x, 3x. And then, yeah, Baby Dragon X just went absolutely insane. So, I love the idea of building something leverage on top of leverage or hyper-deflationary on top of hyper-deflationary. And I originally, when I was thinking about building, I was like, okay, I want to build a Dragon X. This is really cool. But then Inferno came around and I was like, okay, this is quite unique as well. And as I got to talking to more people in the Inferno space, they were saying, yeah, there's loads of plans to build a lot of stuff on Inferno to make sure that it's always going to be being burnt.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, okay, this is perfect because especially with Flux, it leverages Inferno really well. So if we are able to help Flux push Flux price up, it's going to be able to push the rewards up. It's going to be able to push Phoenix up, and it's going to benefit the burn of more Inferno as well. So it's kind of this loop of everything working to benefit by building on top of Inferno, which is why we chose to build it there.
So longevity and sustainability. That's by design. I mean, that's the way to go. And that's the beauty of what's happened in the ecosystem is the fact that, to your point, is the cohesiveness and working with the different founders and just some of the great minds. I mean, I feel so insignificant at times speaking with some of the people in our community because they're just so brilliant. But um, that's the great thing that our ecosystem offers, is that
Yeah.
there's really so many different avenues to choose from that offer great potential. It's not like you're going down dead end streets. Um, and with that is getting the public outreach out there and the education out there to let people know that, this isn't, you could pick one, but you're going to need Titanx to get started. So we all love that. And, we have folded in like dude did with E280. He folded in the option to actually use ETH right from the get. You know, that's going to become something I think that's just become standard status quo in future builds. I mean, because literally you're opening the door for your guest. You're not. They don't
Yeah.
even have to knock. You literally have the door open. Come on in. So, but that's the beauty of it. And I see these posts online, of all these people, showing, show me a place where I can go and put my money and not get rugged, or it's just an awful place. And it just eats me up inside because I'll respond, look at this ecosystem, or I'll point them towards the hub, or whatever. Never hear back or anything like that. It's just like you just hear of all these frustrating stories and you see them. Because I venture outside of our community as well, just so I can get a feel for what's happening in other, sections of the world, if you want to call it. What other, like, I'll jump over, I'll see what's going on in Pulsar, Hex, and I'll even go listen to the Bitcoin boys. And I just listen because it's just like you can pick up so much information on the mood, the momentum of the market, all those variables come into play. But to where I'm going with Titanx and what it offers is just right now. It's it's an open road. You can just pick a path and fill your tank and go for a ride. And that's just really remarkable. And that long-term sustainability in your project is going to be key. And you're going to see just more and more of that coming out. And
Yeah, and it is a shame seeing the rest of the crypto space. Everyone we're so lucky to have found Titanx, and that all these projects are sticking to the ethos, double audits. Everyone's sticking to the rules. There's no malicious actors as of yet, and it feels completely kind of polar opposite to the rest of the crypto space. Before Titanx, there were so many rug projects or projects that have roadmaps that are just controlled by VCs, dead ends, everything like that. So we are so lucky. I think people will start to come around to Titanx, but it is difficult to translate it. Like Mitch was saying at the beginning, there's so many layers to it. Having to explain it to someone who outside of the ecosystem is very difficult. But straight over the head. But I think as it gets bigger and the candles get greener, people are gonna wake up to it and start coming in more, for sure.
Yeah. Actually, when we had the over the weekend when we were closing out the anniversary stream, Smooth and Crypto had gotten a group together to really just kind of expand our thoughts and present ideas about how we can, look towards the future and where it's going and our audience and so on and so forth. There was some great discussions on, how we can bring and improve onboarding and so on and so forth. And I know that's going to be an ongoing effort. And actually, that's part of everybody's effort, if you're in Titanx, is to just spread the word. So, between the conference and everything that took place, that was huge. I'm pretty sure YouTube is probably going, what in the hell are they doing over there? Because it was just a massive, massive stream, and so many people were involved. Which was huge. So that
it was good.
that
I
got
can't
me
believe that
thinking.
Jake did it for 12 hours.
Oh yeah, well he was back to back. I mean the guy's a legend. We all know that.
Yeah.
But this was what really threw me for a loop. Is like after that conference, Eric had put out a post, and you know, Eric's very good at what he does, no doubt about it. The man is brilliant, and his post simply said that Titanx now is handling 1% of all Ethereum transactions that are taking place on the blockchain now. Just think about
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
1% of all Ethereum transactions
And the fact that we had
taking
two
place
protocols.
within our ecosystem. Think about
That
that
is
for a second.
insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
1%. But that's huge if you think about
Yeah,
it. I
that
mean,
is huge.
look at how many, holders we have. And that's just a statistic that's going to just continue to grow. And
Right.
if we're occupying 1%, what's next? 1.1, 1.2, 1.3,
And we already have two protocols that are on the the top. That, what was it, Volt and Lotus, that were number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, they're
see
sticking
what
there quite
Lotus
well.
was doing yesterday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Flipping out. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Tell you what, that thing is just a beast. It's on fire.
Yeah, Lotus is
Hats
great.
off to Lotus, man. It was really, really great.
It's like we have a group of financial scientists that are all doing experimental finance, right? It's kind of cool.
It is really remarkable, and it could be the start of something completely
Oh yeah.
ground-shaking. And it's when the right minds and the right people start paying attention, because obviously, maybe they have more important things to do. I can't imagine what they would be other than pay attention to Titanx. But in time, that's what it's going to come down to. I believe that, and that's part of my commitment to.
I think if Caleb, if you have a LinkedIn page, you should put your title as financial scientist.
Yeah. No, and Ted, what you were just saying, yeah, I think because where we think Titanx is going in the future, where we're all fairly confident it's going to go, that's a main reason I decided to build as well, to be honest, because I think we are just getting started. We are still so small, and we are still so successful at being this small. I think it's difficult to even comprehend what's going to happen when Titanx supply just gets eaten away, and more builders come. I mean, yeah, we're only a year old, which is insane to think. I mean, what's going to happen in a year's time, and then during the bear market, and then into the next cycle? I think we are early, and I'm just so honored to be here this early, because I think everyone here now is going to really benefit from it.
So let me ask you a question to both of you, and I'd be interested to hear both of your responses. When the tap runs dry, which we know it's going to, Titanx will become, it's going to become a scavenger hunt down the road. You're going to be literally scavenging for what you can find. So once the supply is depleted, as we know it, and we enter hyperdeflationary, we're already entering that. But when that truly kicks in your opinion, has the crypto world ever really seen what's about to happen with what Titanx has done in a year, and having its primary bread and butter, Titanx token, no longer freely available just when you want it?
I was thinking about that, and the cool thing is that let's say the supply gets so low, right? But I mean, the reality is you can always mine. You can keep on mining, right? There's unlimited mining you could do, but of course it's going to get harder. It's going to get more expensive. So it's going to come to a point where, you're going out there and you're mining, but you're only getting like little crumbs that are coming out. So your only option really is to pay a higher price, right? So although you can mint as many coins, it's just going to cost a heck of a lot more to do it. So
Well, you've all heard of Tron too, right? You know what Tron
Which one?
is? Tron,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know too
TRX.
much about it, but I've heard a bit.
it
Yeah,
was
and
huge a couple years ago.
yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah,
They're slowly burning stuff away. When we,
yeah,
they're pretty proud of their burns. Um, Hats off to them for that. But again, I'm going to resort back to Eric. Um, Volume wise, we're actually we have more volume than Tron does.
yeah.
Tron's been around a lot longer. I mean,
Even
like wow.
Pulsex is burning. I think the percent is like 4 to 5%, but it's nowhere near what Titanx is doing.
Yeah. So the rate in which, I mean, the time frame in which Titanx has been in existence to where it is now, and where it's going in the time frame, it's
Yeah,
just mind-boggling. And the fact that it happened so fast, the people that really do their homework and do their research, who may have butted in the past, may really have something to regret in the future. Like
yeah,
seriously, because
100%.
it's evaporating so fast, so fast. So um, that's success to obviously Jake, all the founders and all the builders, but also the community, because I see it all the time. I'm always looking at reactions and comments and the positivity, the level of detail in some of the information that's shared out by community members. It's just staggering, you know, tips and tricks and ideas and walkthroughs and guides. Dude, it's just awesome.
oh yeah.
It's
And even
just awesome.
the liquid supply, we're only 0.04% from heading into the teens. We'll be at 19.9% or whatever very soon.
Yeah.
We're
I
at
think, yeah,
20.04. Yeah.
yeah. Ted, going back to your first question of
Uh-huh.
has this ever been seen before? I think no. I think this is going to be absolutely insane. It's just simple supply and demand. And
Mhm.
I think it's difficult to look at it in a negative way. I think if you're making something more scarce, more scarce, more scarce, and it's not like you want Titanx, it's you need Titanx to participate in projects or to use it for anything. And all these building Titanx protocols are constantly eating away Titanx as well. It's there's a need for it, but there's not enough, and it's just going to get eaten away. And obviously, there's more. The next mining wave, I believe, is going to kick off again very soon.
Oh yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
and that's just the net benefit as well, because that will bring hopefully loads of ETH into the system, which is distributed even more. And even now, if people are getting payouts from from the stakes, I think most people, individuals, are just going to use that to invest in different areas. Like I think with the 369 payout, which is coming in like 15 hours or 16 hours, I think most people are just going to use their Ethereum they get to reinvest into Titanx now.
Oh, I firmly believe that a lot of people are going to do that, which is probably a change of what they originally thought they were going to do. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of folks probably went in, I'm going to do this, and when that comes out, we're going to Vegas, baby. But you know what? That may not be happening now. You know, they might be going, shit, you know, maybe we should just go to, I don't know, let's go to the park and and I'll get some more Titanx, you know. So yeah, a lot of these decisions that people or plans that people had a long time ago, I bet a lot of that's been thrown out the window, especially for
Yeah.
the people that are hardcore and serious about what's happening here. So
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my my staking payout. I'm trying to figure out which project to allocate it to, or
Yeah, me too, to be honest. There's so many choices, isn't there? It is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, and just
So-
keeping track of everything too, right? Like I've got it set up pretty good now, where in the morning I get my coffee and put on a stream, and while I'm listening to a stream, just go down my list to get myself updated with all the different projects. It's kind of cool.
there's a lot of green on the list today. I saw that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's part of the
Looking at
ritual. It's funny. I can just see so many people in this community before they run to work, or they're in the truck and they're getting ready to go to work and pull out of the driveway or whatever and go, oh shit, I didn't check. And they'll run back in and check the
Yeah,
price.
yeah,
I do it all the time. It's like I'm getting ready to go somewhere. I'm like, oh God. It's hard to do on
yeah.
your phone. But yeah, it's definitely one of those routines.
Yeah.
Um,
Mitch, you talked about you're heavily invested in Helios. Is that your favorite project at the moment, would you say, overall?
I think like Jake, when Jake came on the scene, I thought it was really cool. And then I saw the dude, and so the dude and Jake were kind of like always there. So no matter what, like anything that the dude does, I'm just like I automatically go into it. And
Dude's
I
got a
just
great
felt,
vibe, man. I love him.
yeah, man, I felt
Yeah.
safe with him. I was like, and then I watch a lot of, I won't say the name, but there's some streamers who I really do enjoy, but they were kind of fighting me on Dragon X and the developer of Dragon X, so I kind of shifted my mindset over to the dude, and I was like, nah, I'll just get into whatever he's doing, and it worked out well, man. Like, of course, it was low, but I got a lot of miners that are still coming out for Helios, which are just incredible. And I'm just seeing the price now; it's gone up again, and so yeah, man, it's good. I like it. And Element 280 is awesome. I
Yeah,
love the fact that like you have this. This is something I was thinking of. So Element 280 is like one of the first projects. Like, okay, so when you're in DeFi, one of the things that everybody's always trying to do is trying to figure out, can we get an outside source of money or funds coming in, right?
Mhm.
So like there was a big project that I was in, Drip, right? And it was always like, okay, how do we get money from the on the outside of Drip? So we got on this thing called B Farm, and B Farm was huge for Drip. It pumped the price like crazy, but that didn't work out so well. But then, so now going back to Element 280, it's like now you're using bots, right? You have these arbitrage bots that are constantly trading, and when they're doing that, they're essentially paying the stakers, right? Or the holders of the NFTs, right?
Mhm.
So the art bots are making their little bit of money, their percentage, but during that effect, you have what, a 16 or 20% tax on each one, and those are just getting paid to the NFT holders. So I was like, that's cool if you can use the bots to kind of fund, our rewards. So I was just thinking, like, I wonder if we can get one of these, financial scientists to use those bots, to the same effect, and maybe in something else. I don't know what it could be, but I've been trying to wrap my head around that.
It's super unique idea, isn't it? What dude's done. I think
Yeah.
after Helios, and it benefits Helios as well. It sends element tokens to their treasury as well. I think one thing I would like to say about Helios is its stake in Titanx is the
Yeah, so
same
we got a big
value.
payout.
It's the same value as its market cap right now.
Mhm.
It's
What's that? Oh,
treasure.
the payout?
So it has 1.1 trillion Titanx staked.
Okay.
Helios does, which is worth about 1.4 million. Its market cap, let me just double check what its market cap is 1.4 million as well. So it's it's worth as much as market cap. I think it's insanely undervalued, and the payouts are crazy, and they're in Titanx as well. Like, is it the 420? Yeah. That has 800,000 in at the moment, and that is basically priced in Titanx.
Yeah.
So who knows where that's going to be in about 170 days when it comes out. So I think what dude's doing, it's really cool.
It's crazy. It's only 1.4 million market cap. I mean, if it just even gets to a 5 million market cap, would be so crazy for any of the holders, right?
So I got a question for you guys. So with Helios, all right, ultimately could be considered like maybe the backbone of E280. Obviously Titanx, and then you have through E280 you have the NFT option, and then you have the option to mint E280 tokens as well, right? So if you're going into the NFT, that's a pretty secure approach to where, you know, it just does the work for you, you earn from it. But I guess my question is how many people do you actually think are doing both or all three, taking advantage of the current price of Helios off, you know, from whether it be mining or off the market, investing in NFTs, but at the same time minting E280 tokens? Even though you could cash your NFT in to get your tokens, but I'm not going to cash my NFT in because it's doing all the work for me, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm getting at is how many people do you actually think are actually going to the side and actually minting E280 tokens just to have a bag of those in conjunction with their NFTs, in conjunction with Helios tokens?
I think the best value proposition is the NFTs, like you said. They work for you in the
Yeah.
background. I think the most attractive, and they're backed by the tokens as well. So I think the NFTs, in my opinion, are the best. I think not many people are waking up to Helios. I think it's really undervalued. I think not many people are going into that heavy. So yeah, definitely the NFTs, and for good reason. The NFTs have had crazy success, and the mint phase isn't even over yet. And imagine when, because they're like deflationary NFTs. Like Ted, if you hold on to your NFT for a year and half of the NFTs cash in, cash out even for their tokens and leave, you're going to have so much more ownership in that payout pool, which I think is the really attractive kind of value that comes with the NFT. So I think the NFTs for sure.
Yeah,
There's only 5,000 of them that are minted right now, I think.
Well,
I'll check.
We got 5461 now. Almost 3,000 have been burned. So
wow.
Yeah, 2,890 have been burned.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see because you're saying, you know, those being burned, but people can still mint. So what happens after the minting is over, right? And then it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, people will be obviously a lot more hesitant to burn their NFTs because, I mean, the only way to get them now or after the minting will be on the marketplace, right?
Pretty much. And so where I'm going with all this is this stream potentially could really kick off a big run. This isn't financial advice by any way, shape, or form, but when the minting stops and everything that's behind E280, I mean, yeah, I think it's been under the radar for a while. But in the last few days, I think as the mint's starting to wrap up or getting close to wrapping up, I think there's going to be a rush. I really do.
Yeah.
Be like, whoa, wait. There's like so many just choices here that have potential that are huge. You have,
and especially if the rewards are picking up too, because I noticed this week the rewards are quite significant compared to the first week.
Yeah, there's so much to this, and the other thing is it's just going to grow. V2 is going to come out. But Colin, this is more about
E369, right?
What's that?
Then there's also E369 that's coming out.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a stream with Dude on Wednesday, and we'll be running through that because that's going to be built on Flux as well. So I think Flux holders, Phoenix and E369, are going to benefit Flux massively. So I'm really excited to do that stream with him. Yeah.
I staked Flux huge.
Nice.
I staked out big time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just going to stake it.
I love the auction. Like if Flux does a 2x in price, there's going to be 2x the amount of rewards coming in. And it's circulating. Its liquid supply at the moment is only, I think it's 8.5%. It's liquid supply. So just imagine if there's a little bit of buy pressure to that.
Yeah.
It could easily take off. And then there's more rewards, which are forced through the auctions for everyone. So I think Flux is a huge sleeper at the moment. And I'm happy because I think Phoenix is going to showcase that quite well. And hopefully E369 as well.
So that's what I like. I like the fact that you folded that in there with your build.
When are you going to have some images that everybody can see for Phoenix?
Some like AI images.
Or I mean, like some screenshots or of the UI.
Oh yeah. So this week we're going into testnet,
Cool.
just making sure that there's no hiccups. I want to take it really seriously and make sure there's nothing. But we've got a super good team behind us. It's Decentra. They helped build Volt. They helped build all of the Accelerate projects. They like partnered with them. So they've built, I think, Inferno, Flux, like all of the big projects in Titanx. So these guys are really, really good. Yeah, and then we should go into audits next week. It was meant to be this week, but I think the mainnet is quite difficult, and we just want everything to be perfect. But yeah, hopefully there'll be some images of that coming out. Hopefully at the end of this week for everyone to see, which should be exciting. Yeah.
What are your feelings heading into the audit?
I'm confident. These guys are really, really good. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do 2. I mean, if we need to do 3, we do 3, but 2 just, to be safe and everything. But these guys are so good. So yeah, I'm confident.
Yeah, I did watch your walkthrough on your white paper. That was a good little video.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. And yeah, so one of the things too, to go back to what we were talking about on Sunday with the closeout, is how we can make information more readily available to people that come in from the outside, as far as tutorial videos or walkthroughs or anything like that. We had a pretty good talk about that. And with you putting out the video of the walkthrough of your white paper is just a great example. And then if there's anything as far as complexities with the UI, or you feel like when you reveal the UI, if there's areas you think that could be confusing or whatever, like Rain Man, he did a little video just to show how you can start your miner, and stuff like that. That was huge, man, because just those little things really help out. So if you put some thought into, once you do your UI reveal and everything, as you're going through, if there are areas that you feel like could be confusing to the user, that you would possibly put some content together to support that and guide them through it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think I really like Jake's white paper video that he connected to his white paper in Titanx. I think I have made a walkthrough. I'd probably put that on, and maybe a UI walkthrough as well, just to make it as clear as possible. And I do want to try and keep people as informed about Phoenix as possible, because it maybe seems quite complicated when you're looking at it face value, but it's really not. So yeah, I think just making videos, making content to kind of get it through to everyone is the best way. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thought process behind that is for someone like yourself, it's your creation. To you, it flows. It's a part of you. It came out, and you fully understand it. But then you always have to think of your audience. Because ultimately they're going to be the success behind your product. Your build. So if it boils down to spoon feeding, sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And obviously you probably know all this, but I definitely see that that's going to be something in the future that's going to become more and more beneficial, especially the more complex some of this stuff gets.
Yeah. I think, going on streams as well, obviously, is good for everyone. I think I'm looking forward to, I've got a Mike Dean stream as well at some point, which is always good to, showcase the functions. Whenever I watch his run throughs of projects, it kind of all clicks for me in those videos. So I think that'll be good for everyone as well. Yeah.
Well, you've made it when you get to that point. Because you're going to get the sketch pad and the questions, and there's no finer person than to be doing that. So I wish you great success in that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very, very impressive young man. So now, what part you're in England?
Yep.
Okay.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yep. Yeah. So you're in England, and did you go to college? Did you?
Yeah, I went to college. Like, we call it sixth form here, But
Sixth form. Okay.
yeah. I went to that. I did business, biology, and graphics, so like Photoshop and everything like that. And I really enjoyed business the
Hey.
most. I enjoyed business the most.
That's strange.
Nice.
Here you are.
Yeah, and I
Were you
got
working before this?
yeah, I was working. Yeah, just doing. So I did an internship at a real estate place for a while, but it really made me think that I don't want to do. It was like everyone was quite money hungry and wanting. I don't know. They were money hungry, and I really didn't like that concept of just working every single day and only focusing on money, buying new stuff, but always be working. I preferred. I wanted to make something myself, and yeah, that's what I went all into crypto, and I was like, this is good. This is like, I think the route. So I got into Casper. I don't know if you guys know Casper.
Yeah.
Got into Casper quite early, and then from there, I was hooked. I was like, I want to do this. So yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Hey
That's
man,
cool.
you gotta one of these days you gotta get your laptop and come fly on over to Cambodia.
I would love to go traveling for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you will be. I'm pretty sure you will be. Nothing but up for you. I can see that. So Mitch, what are you planning on building?
Not sure yet. I've been doing a little bit of work with Cryptida. She had an idea, so she asked me to help her out with it. So we're kind of working on that, but we'll see. We're looking at a maybe a pulse chain Titanx type thing. So
All
we'll
right.
see. We'll see. Not sure
Right.
yet though.
Well, I didn't know you were working on anything, so you just dropped a little bit of alpha. That's
Yeah,
pretty
nice.
interesting.
Yeah, it's more
How-
like little Cryptida. She came up with the Cryptida. I don't know if you guys have seen her around on YouTube or whatever, but she used to work in my hotel back in 2012. I hired her. I met her. She was working at some restaurant, and I saw her energy, and I was like, man, I need somebody like that to work in my hotel. And then so I had her come. So I've known her for like 12 years or so, and then we've been doing projects in crypto together sort of for a while. I help her out because her English isn't the greatest, but so I kind of guide her into things, you know. So yeah, now she's just asking me about that, and we'll see where it goes.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, we'll definitely keep our ears open.
Yeah,
Ted,
cool.
how about you? Run us through
Yeah.
why you decided to start. I know there's not much information out at the moment about what you're going to be building, but run us through everything you can tell us.
Okay. So yeah, my time in Titanx has been a great adventure. You know, I just gotten to know some really amazing people, and just kind of stood in the background and watched, paid attention to a lot of what was happening, and finally started to get this itch. Like, you know, God, I'd really like to do something, but I didn't really know where to start, you know, and whatever. Um, so came up with some ideas, talked to some folks. I can't get into much detail right now, but the plan is to come up with something um, that's going to fall in line with what Jake likes to do best with getting rid of Titanx.
Nice.
In a capacity that's going to be interesting, and there'll be some really uniqueness to it. I think that even Steve DeFi would like, because it'll be colorful.
Nice.
It'll be interesting. It'll be fun.
Very mysterious, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the sounds of it.
I'm not at liberty to really. I really don't want to paint a false picture at this time, because there's still some key decisions that need to be made.
Yeah.
And again, going into this, I'm thinking long term. You know, something that's stable, can actually be somewhat self-sufficient, um, and uh, contribute to the ecosystem as a whole and touch as many parts of that as possible. To the level that dude did, no way. But but
Hopefully close.
but it's almost like um, it's a desire now. It's like something that I want to be a part of, um, in a way that shows my commitment to what I solely truly believe in, and
Yeah.
um, yeah. And every time I start talking about it, I get nervous. I just have the butterflies because it's like it's all here, and I just want to burst it out, but timing wise, it's not right because we're still working on some graphic stuff and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's
You'll get there though.
yeah, it's a big decision, but I think it's awesome that you've decided to build. I think in my opinion, I think building on Titanx is going to be like having real estate in New York hundreds of years ago. I think we all know
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's going, and having something put in place, especially if it's sustainable and is built to last long term, I think it's going to be the only reason I built Phoenix is because I wanted to build something that I wanted to put money into and invest into. And I thought of this idea and I was like, I think hopefully other people are going to think the same. So yeah, as long as there's a value proposition there for people, I think do it.
Yeah. Now, a year ago, I would have been like, no. I mean, it's just. But when I finally decided to go with the approach, I sat down with my wife and I just kind of said, I really think that this could be beneficial for us. It could also be beneficial to many, many others. Um, and at the time, like a year ago, she would have thought I was crazy, but now time has passed and she understands crypto a little bit better. She understands Titanx. And so when I told her about going and building something, she's like, what does your heart tell you? And I says, it tells me yes. And she's like, well, then do it. So uh, that once that was once I had that discussion with my wife, it's like the floodgates opened. It was a sense of freedom to where it's like you could just run through the yard with your hands
Yeah.
in the air, and just screaming like you don't care if anybody sees you or not. It was like, all right, if all's well under the roof and she's behind me 100%, then let's do it.
Does she keep up to date with everything that's going on in Titanx?
No.
Okay.
I bring her in and I'll show her some really fun stuff. I'll be like, hey, look at this, and she's like, wow, what was that again?
Yeah, but it's
You
cool.
know?
You got somebody there that you can sort of talk to about it too, right? So that's cool.
Yeah, and it's a decision I think that as my wife, I mean, she needs to be part of it because if she sees me in here hammering out doing stuff when
Yeah.
she's sitting in the other room thinking he doesn't want to be with me, that's not the case. I'm actually
Yeah.
trying to start a business here.
Yeah.
So, but
Absolutely.
yeah, and I say in due time, like probably within the next month or so, there'll be a lot more details coming out.
That's the other thing that's kind of cool about like these spaces and you doing Titanx lounges. Like for a lot of us, there's nobody that you can really talk to about this stuff.
Right.
So like when the closest it comes to for me is watching a stream, but you can't discuss with a stream, right? So it's kind of cool because not a lot of people in our worlds, I'm sure, have an understanding of this layer of crypto.
Right. That was part of what motivated bringing the Titanx Lounge to life, was to create this type of environment.
Yeah.
I was getting blown away with all the streams and just trying to keep up, and then going back and watching the recordings, and it's like, okay, and making sure that you're assembling all these parts and paths and pieces, to where even myself, I was just like, where do I pick up today? It's like there's got to be a way to just have a place to let people come in and just talk about, and not feel like they have to just
Yeah.
be all super technical and everything, because
Yeah.
this actually touches people. This actually does. You know, the people. I mean, we're at 151 people on a Tuesday morning at almost 10:30. We're a little over, Colin. Hope you didn't have. I think you got a stream coming up on the West Coast at 9 West
Yes.
Pacific time.
Yes. Yeah.
So
With another new streamer, I think he was originally part of the Blaze team, so that should be good. Yeah.
yeah. So, but
Yes.
but it's cool. And Mitch, you know, you're always welcome. And
That's fine.
I do often, and I do say that if anybody wants to come on the lounge, to just DM me, and there are, you know, there are requirements. You know, you got to have a green circle. That's ticket number one. And then just a discussion on what it is you'd like to talk about. You know.
Yeah.
And it is a really good way to learn. That's what I found. Interviewing all these different founders, just like any conversation you have with people, they have different perspectives. And it's really good to learn, yeah, things that you might have not thought of before on streams. So yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone that wants to kind of learn more and be more involved in the space.
Yeah, and it's kind of like one of the ways that I work and I think, and the best analogy I can come up with is like, say you're working on a car, okay, and there's a really tight bolt somewhere on the engine, and you have such limited room to get the wrench on that bolt, and you're thinking, God, I wish I had a lift. I could lift it up. I could get underneath it. But you can't, you know. So you have to think about, am I approaching this the right way? You know, let's step back and let's try it from a different angle. Let's try it from, you know, a different, instead of just keep repeatedly trying to struggle with, you know, it's not working. Step back, rethink what it is you're doing. And odds are, when you do that, you know, you end up figuring out a way to do it, because you're taking the time to understand it. And also, you're kind of, you know, checking yourself on what it is you're doing. It's like, okay, why am I just banging my head against a wall? You know, realistically, if I just change the tool and I move to this location, I have free range to do exactly what I need to do. So I'm always looking for angles of attack, you know, is what I like to call it. If it's not working, change your angle of attack. So, and I feel like the lounge is a different angle of attack in how you can address your audience. So,
Yeah, no, it's great.
but on that note, I know we've been on for about an hour and a half. We had a pretty good turnout, and I don't know what everybody's schedule is, but if you want to keep talking, we can. But if not, we could wrap it up. It's totally up to you guys. You're on mute there, bud.
Sorry, I can go 20 minutes longer. I can go 20 minutes longer for sure.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then, if we're gonna do that, then I guess column is Phoenix. You got a lot coming out with that. I know that's it's hot on your plate right now. But is there any alpha that you could throw out there to where you already have started looking at ways to maybe come up with a Phoenix 2.0 down the road? Or
I mean,
have you already started leaning in that direction to where, like, okay, I have this. It's a lot right now, but do you have long-term plans as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get into the building process more, you'll definitely find this as well. There's lots of ideas that you can't implement into your project. And there are lots of cool things that you think about and you're like, okay, this won't work for this. So that's definitely where I'm at. There's a lot of ideas I've got. And the one thing I do want Phoenix to be is independent on its own. So it's going to work flawlessly on its own. It doesn't need anything else. But yeah, I would love, it's going to be my baby, my other project. So I think
you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think
building something.
Yeah, I think obviously I would love to add more to it, more infrastructure to it in the future. And I definitely have some ideas, but it's a lot to think about, especially when you're building. But that's the one thing I like about Phoenix is it's going to work on its own. So no expectations for any future plans, but yeah, maybe there will be things down the road.
I think once you're finished and it's launched and things are, you know, moving along, I'm certain that you're going to have so many ideas to continue on, and you're going to want to keep building, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not until I think when things are really rolling that you're gonna start to see things a bit differently.
True. Colin, do you code as well? Do you code your own, or do you have developers?
No,
for you?
so I've got the same devs that worked on. They're called Decentra. They're the same ones that worked with Accelerate, and they made Vol and they made everything like that. Yeah, but they're so helpful. I work very closely with them to make sure everything's what I have in my head and what's on the white paper is implemented. So yeah.
Yeah, and from a timeline perspective, being your first build and everything, did it go faster or slower than you thought it would? Or
I mean, yeah, they were extremely quick. Definitely,
Mhm.
I put across the idea, and it was only a few weeks really. I mean, when I first started streaming, which was only maybe a month and a half ago,
Mhm.
is when I got in touch with them and properly said I want to get involved and build something. So it's been a very, very quick process for sure.
Oh, your breakout video was awesome, by the way. The suit, dude, man, I was
Yeah.
like, you had my respect from moment one. I'm like, I gotta listen to this dude. That was so
Yeah.
kick-ass, man. It was
Yeah.
so great.
It's because
you're pretty famous for that.
I loved it.
Yeah, it
was
was with Steve. It was like Volt that day had just because the first few days it kind of just lay low, and then on that day when I had the stream with Steve, it just blew up. And I remember thinking, right, this can be a serious stream. So I was like, let's put on a suit.
Yeah.
It's a suit stream,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It literally, my jaw hit my desk when I tuned in. I'm like, bonk. I was like, what? Well played, man. Well
That's
played.
funny.
I actually thought about wearing a suit this morning. I was like, that's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
You should
now
come in one day in your pajamas. Just throw everybody off.
Yeah,
right.
for sure. Yeah, I think everyone expects a suit now, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like Ted said, it is a lot of effort to get it just up.
Yeah, man, some nice pajamas. Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
Well, here's
Yeah,
a question
good.
for you. Here's a question for you then, because I've seen you wear a suit more than once. And was there a reason for it?
Yeah, it was just the anniversary stream. So
Nice.
I thought, yeah, I'd throw it on for that.
Dude, you were styling, man. Such style. If it would have been a public place with people there, you probably would have showed up with a box of chocolates. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, just so good.
Next
good.
year, if there's not a party IRL, as I know some people are talking about, everyone should wear suits. There should just be rows of all the streamers
That'd be cool.
suited up. Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
I wonder how that's gonna play out. I wonder if where that would be held and how it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, they had talks about a coin or something.
Yeah,
like
so
coin or something.
Viber, right?
We have in a stream that Steve and I had with Jake. It was brought up to have. I think it was the supernova stream that we did. Yeah, and the concept of the party was brought up, but really, it's being called a party, but really, the thought of it is it's like a convention. It would be like breakout sessions of training, just idea thinkers. There would be a complete schedule, and this would be serious shit. I mean, it would be what's the best way to say it? It'd be long days and it'd be long nights, if you know what I mean. It'd be a lot of hard work and dedication and great discussions and how we can improve. And then dinner and drinks later, I'm sure. And if it's a week long, I'm predicting by Tuesday the honeymoon's going to be over because everybody's going to look like they've been run over by a truck because they're going to be traveling from all over the world. They're going to be from different time zones. Everybody's going to be meeting everybody. Drinks are going to be flying. So by the end of the week, you'll really get to know the person for who they really are. But
it would be cool. Yeah.
But yeah, there has been discussions, and I think Jake's on board.
So it's a cool concept. Did they do that with Hex? They had quite a lot of conferences.
Yeah, they've done stuff like that. they're quite successful, and is it gosh, I'm trying to think of his name. I forget. Finance. He was talking about doing a conference, and I think it was with Hex or whatever, and he said surprisingly nobody got arrested. That
Wow.
actually once everybody got there,
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
yeah, it was like everybody got there, and it was quite civil. Everybody had a great time, but nobody got arrested. Nobody disappeared, and a lot of good came from it.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine what could come from a conference like that in IRL.
Imagine the
Getting
ideas. Yeah.
the people together, because emotions speak volumes. I mean, you can just tell by someone's reaction if something's firing or not. And if somebody says something and boom, and then you got this hive of ideas just swarming and just creating. It'd be just pure magic. Steve will be walking around like he's on cloud 9 because he's such a good resource, and he's so good at identifying people with really brilliant ideas, and I mean he's really
All right.
really talented and gifted in that aspect. And I think it was his idea actually to come up with this party.
Yeah.
But you can call it a party, but I'm pretty sure it'd be a whole lot of business.
It's a very cool, unique idea for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already planning on going. I don't care where it is.
Anyway.
I really don't, because wherever it is, I'm sure that it'll be epic.
Yeah. Just touching on Steve, what do you guys think will happen with all the pillars being released? What are your guys' thoughts about that?
Oh, I can't even wrap my head around it and what it potentially could do. I'm just being honest, because with what's taken place to date so far, the adoption, and I want to call it, I'm not going to use the word that I was going to use. Its strength is remarkable right now. And with what Steve's doing and the people in which he's working with and having these discussions with, I seriously, I'm going to pop some popcorn and get a big soda and just watch it happen, because it's going to be crazy. And the time frame in which all this is going to happen is very fast.
Very, very fast. Yeah.
It's just going to roll out, and people are going to be like, "What?" And
yeah,
once those cylinders start firing, it'll be fascinating to watch what happens throughout the ecosystem, because it's touching so many different things, and it's going to take a while for people, I think, to just really grasp what it's doing.
Yeah, and just imagine the game theory that's going to have to be played.
Exactly.
All the projects coming out, and then there's all of those pillars as well that you have to pay attention to, with auctions going on all the time here and there. I mean, yeah, it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, sure. And it's already becoming, in my opinion, that people are having to start to make choices on which kingdom they really want to pay attention to. And I'm not a big fan of the whole kingdom concept. I think, it has a purpose, it has a meaning. I understand it, but my vision has always been just Titanx, and that is the foundation, and all the wonderful things it's created. But in the end, it all trickles back to one point, one piece, right? So, I definitely have my flux, and I've been dealing with Inferno and Alien X, and that's great. But it's like I'm so diverse. It's kind of like, how diverse do I get, and how much can I afford? How much diversity can I afford? You know what I mean? Because now I'm really starting to. And dude had a very good point. With all this stuff that's happening, new money is becoming something that people really need to start thinking about. Is to, if you want to stay engaged and you have your bags, you want to protect what you have, but if you want to get engaged, the only way you can really do it is with new money. And a lot of people are getting to that point where that's what's happening. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I wanted more NFTs in E280, and I'm like, oh shit. So I used ETH, you know,
Yeah. I
because
mean,
I wanted to save my Titan.
yeah, it is that kind of decision you've got to put in your head, isn't it? If what's the best game plan to keep your funds? And obviously, it's safer to just keep it in the ETH. But everything going on in Titanx, it feels like it's difficult not to go all in a way.
Yeah,
I think.
and you want to, because I jumped into Morpheus yesterday. I mean, I didn't even test the water. Right in. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoop, I'm going.
Yeah.
Because the people behind it alone just sold it. I mean, just the knowledge, the experience, the build, the mechanics. It's like I didn't want to let that opportunity slip by. So, you know, all right, pull it out of the old vault and dive in. But back to the my thoughts on the kingdoms. I get it; it works and stuff, but at the same time, I don't personally see it that way. I see it all as just Titanx, us as a whole. But from the outsider coming in, they will see the different pillars probably more so because they'll probably gravitate towards one direction, and that's where they may end up just taking off, you know. But for someone like the three of us, we were there in the very beginning. All we had was Titanx, period. That's all we had.
Yeah.
There's nothing else until others started coming on board. Titan Legends, Dragon X, Helios, and now look at us. Nuts.
Just too many projects to even keep track of.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite project at the moment, Ted? Is it Element 280?
Oh God, my favorite project right now. There's E280 is definitely there as the top. I'm big into the farms. I, with farms, that's just awesome. I'm really curious about Ouroboros when that,
Yeah.
hopefully that'll be successful. And I've always been a huge Titan Legends fan. When those NFTs first came out, I was super excited because I got to spend Titan X. Oh, so I bought NFTs and I thought it was cool. So I always have a very special place for Titan Legends.
Sounds good though if you're in a lot of different places, because it is good to have your funds spread between the ecosystem just in case something happens to one kingdom or one project to be spread out. So
yeah, but
and you never know when something might take off too, right?
See, and that's the thing, and that's where you get into the fresh money thing. It's like you want in and you want to protect your bags, and you're worried about missing out.
Yeah.
These decisions become tougher. They really do because ultimately it's costing. And I'm not as blessed and fortunate to say, yeah, I have 200 billion Titan X. No, that's not me. I don't have that luxury. I mean, I'm happy with what I have. But at the same time, I'm thinking 10 years down the road. I'm thinking, so. But we'll see. We'll see. But to really answer your question, Colin, all the projects are amazing. Period.
Agreed. Yeah.
Without a doubt. If I could be in every single one and to a capacity that would make it super beneficial for me, shit, yeah, I'd be in all of them. But I just can't afford to do that. I mean, seriously, I just don't have that luxury. So I have to my strategies are a little bit different than most because it's just the way I chose to play it. I'm happy with what I'm doing, so I'm not complaining. But they're all amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there are, as more come out, it's difficult not to want to participate, especially after what happened with Volt. You're like, yeah, any
Yeah.
one of these can just pop off at any time. So
Look at Lotus.
yeah, Lotus
I'm
as well. Yeah,
so glad I went into Lotus. I told Rayman, as soon as that shit goes live, I am in.
Yeah.
Because it by design, it's so beautiful when you think about it. The website, it's just like, oh wow, this is so cool, so relaxing. It's just the graphics, everything. Man, that's all up front. Because when you get to the back end of that thing, it's a beast. I mean, it's designed to just do some really great things. So yeah, but
It's
both
interesting too because the last auction one that came out, I forget which one it was, but I remember just listening if people were going to do short-term miners or long-term miners, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to try to do some short-term miners." So they did it, and then it wasn't profitable. So then I remember being in the chats just reading, and people they're like, "Oh, you guys gonna do short-term miners for Lotus or whatever?" And then people, they're replying like, "No, not doing any short-term miners this time. I don't want to get, wrecked like we did on the last one." And then of course, like how crypto always does the opposite, and short-term miners were actually profitable.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's the game we play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we have game theory.
Yeah.
So, but Colin, I know you got to get going here soon. Guys, this has really been
it's been a good stream.
nice
Yeah, it's
chill.
been great.
And really, that's Mitch. I'm glad you said what you said about giving having a platform where you can go and just talk. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Because some with some of these guys, if they were to talk technical, I can't hold a candle to them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just you could just there nod and go, oh yeah, and that's all you're doing. It's like right over your head.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this has been a great experience. And Colin, thanks for suggesting Mitch join us. That was a great call, man. I'm sure he's gonna do some onboarding as well as we move forward, and hopefully, if you do build out, I wish you great success in what you're working on, Mitch. And Colin, I'll be watching you like everybody else will be.
Thanks for having me on as well, Ted. Hopefully I can come on again down the road in the future when Phoenix is out, and hopefully your project is closer to being.
Tell you what, next time I have you on, I'll make sure the next time you're on, it'll be before launch, and I'll be able to give you all the details.
Yes, that sounds awesome. Yeah, thanks for
So I'll
having
pencil you in. I'll pencil you in.
Sounds good.
But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. And Mitch just bounced.
He just left.
He's back again.
Oh.
Did
Oh
you?
my gosh. I guess so. It's the Cambodian Wi-Fi. It's not the greatest.
Okay. Well, hey, we're wrapping up. Do you want to say your goodbyes now?
Yeah, Ted. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's really great to be here to actually talk with somebody about this stuff because not very often I get to talk about it. And Callum, thank you very much again. Appreciate it too. And hopefully I'll speak with you guys all soon again.
Sounds good. Colin, do you have any last things to say?
You'd
like to wrap up with? And include, I'm going to throw the same question you threw at me, at you, is what is your favorite project other than Phoenix in your wrap up? That's a tough question because there's a lot of people listening right now.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the auctions, honestly. the idea of the auctions where if you just apply a little bit of pressure, a few projects built on top, it could just go sky high. We haven't seen it yet, but not financial advice. Hopefully in the future with Phoenix, with E369, we're going to see good things for Flux. So that's definitely my favorite project and my favorite tokenomics at the moment to be looking at. But yeah, thanks for everyone for coming to watch. I really appreciate it. And definitely thanks for Ted for having me on. So
yeah, sounds good. Now I'm gonna end the stream here in a second, and hopefully it'll end, because last time I hit end, it kept recording. So guys, it's been a pleasure. And for those of you in the audience that attended, thank you very much. And Com, best of luck to you. Mitch, same. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Take care, Titanx.
In the beginning, it started with a big bang.
Galaxies born, immense energy released.
Fast forward to today.
In today's world, there is Titanx.
Bridging the divide to financial freedom.
Future with
Unlock
Titanx.
unlimited potential.
Join the revolution. Take
Secure
control
your
of your
financial
destiny.
Welcome to the future of financial empowerment.
I go insane.